Welcome back to Breaking Ground. I'm Siddharth Talia. Now, Ranveer Singh, the popular Bollywood actor, is in the center of a controversy following a nude photo shoot for a magazine that has triggered a massive storm. The Moral Sena is now gunning for Ranveer Singh, and a case has been registered against him in Mumbai under several sections of the IPC as well as the Information Technology Act. This after two separate complaints were filed in Chembur, one by an NGO and the other by a woman lawyer who alleged that the actor hurt the sentiments of women and insulted their modesty. The child rights body also slammed the actor, saying such woke culture is to blame for the mental harassment children face today. This was something that Mr. Priyank Kanoongo of the NCPCR had said. However, Ranveer got some support. But before that, let's in fact listen into some reactions that have come.
डेफिनेटली इस तरीके का जो कंटेंट है वो बच्चों के पास नहीं आना चाहिए। समझ में नहीं आता कि फिल्म इंडस्ट्री के जिम्मेदार और समझदार लोग इस तरीके का वोक कल्चर भारत में क्यों बढ़ाना चाहते हैं। हमने दुनिया के कई देशों में ये देखा है कि इस वोकिज्म के कारण बच्चों को बहुत ही ज़्यादा मेंटल हैरासमेंट का, मेंटल ट्रॉमा का सामना करना पड़ता है। और निश्चित रूप से डेवलपमेंटल एज में बच्चे जिनको रोल मॉडल मानते हैं, अगर उनको इस तरीके के कृत्य करते हुए देखते हैं तो वो समाज को एक अच्छी दिशा देने वाला काम नहीं है।
Now, Ranveer Singh has got some support from his co-actors in the film fraternity, mainly the Hindi film industry, with Alia Bhatt slamming the negativity around the actor's photo shoot. Some women activists have also questioned the outrage against the actor.
I don't like anything negative said about my favorite Ranveer Singh. तो मैं ये question को मतलब बर्दाश्त भी नहीं कर सकती हूँ. I love him. He'll be eternally a favorite to every one of us actually, and he's given us so much at the movies, so we should only give him love.
I do not understand how this has caused any sort of discomfort or hurting a woman's sentiments. As far as his genitals or his private parts are not being exposed to hurt somebody in their face, I do not see that there is so much of, hoo-ha-ha about it. Social media or OTT platforms, there is absolutely no standard of what qualifies for obscenity or what qualifies for nudity. On what basis are we talking about filing cases and fighting against this, and what is the kind of remedy that you're looking at? As far as molestation is concerned or modesty of a woman is concerned, I don't think this was forced upon a woman. It is a man who chose to do what he wishes to do, and I think as individuals we also have a choice to not view it or to completely ignore it.
We have reactions coming in from different parts of the country. People are calling us in. Shailesh from Gorakhpur is now responding to this entire controversy. Mr. Shailesh, thank you for joining us. What's your response to the entire outrage that we witnessed against this photo shoot by Ranveer Singh? Mr. Shailesh, if you can hear me, what's your response to this entire controversy surrounding the photo shoot of Ranveer Singh? Right. We'll come back to our callers in just a short while from now. There's also politics over what's actually transpired with Samajwadi Party leader Abu Azmi now dragging in the hijab row into this entire controversy, asking that if someone can pose nude and that's a right of free expression, then why stop girls from wearing the hijab and attending schools? That's his reaction. This is a reaction from Abu Azmi from Mumbai from the Samajwadi Party.
मैं भारतवर्ष की 130 करोड़ जनता से कहता हूं कि नंगी फोटो आ रही है। अभी मैं देखा कोई फिल्म वालों की नंगी फोटो दिख रही है और उसको देख रहे कोई बोलता ही नहीं कुछ और उस पर कोई रोक नहीं, कोई केस नहीं। लेकिन हिजाब पहन के अगर कोई औरत चली गई ना तो बहुत प्रॉब्लम है देश में। इनको एग्जाम नहीं देने दिया जाएगा। यानी हर चीज हिंदू मुस्लिम।
Several reactions coming in, of course, several sections of the IPC having been slapped against Ranveer Singh, many questioning if this is an attempt to in fact harass a celebrity. Remember that when Madhu Sapre as well as Milind Soman had in fact been part of a controversial ad dating back to 1995, it took the courts 14 years to eventually acquit them in that case in 2009. We're being joined right now by filmmaker Mr. Indrajit Lankesh, but we'll just come back to him in a short while from now. Many, of course, questioning whether or not this is just an attempt to harass a celebrity for indulging in an act of creativity by posing before the cameras. NCPCR, of course, has a different view on this, with Mr. Priyank, the chairperson, saying that this is something that can inflict mental trauma on children. And, of course, many other activists also weighing in and claiming that Mr. Ranveer Singh does, in fact, have a right to exercise his creative liberty, and this is in no way offending the sentiments of women, because the photos are quite aesthetic in nature and that they're not, in fact, in any way obscene. So these are some of the reactions that have in fact come from different sections of society reacting to this entire controversy surrounding Mr. Ranveer Singh. Now let me go across to our guest, Mr. Indrajit Lankesh, who is joining us on this broadcast. Mr. Lankesh, your response to the outrage in response to Ranveer Singh's photo shoot.
See, I'm shocked. And first of all, you were talking about Milind Soman and Madhu Sapre went nude before this a while back. But before that, I can recall is Pratima Bedi went nude in a beach in Mumbai. While she was jogging, she went nude. So even then, there was a hue and cry, and the whole society and the film industry in particular was shocked. So even now, I kind of ask, what if a woman had gone nude? If the same reaction would have been there, people would have trolled her. People would have expressed shock. People would have defamed her. People would have insulted her. So, I don't see a reason why he has gone nude in the sake of freedom of expression. I feel, being in the film industry and following the careers of actors and actresses, when their film flops, when a couple of series of film flops, in fact, one of the actors who is close to Ranveer itself previously had gone into making publicity in another way, like getting into affairs, going into IPL, hugging and kissing an IPL owner. And the same has been happening here. I think Jayeshi Bhai has flopped. And then there is another film which was 83, which was a flop. And then again, previous to that, Padmavat, he was a villain. So it's again, South industry, South films are doing so well. And there is a little bit of a crisis of identity crisis, I feel. And when an actor goes into a flop mode, he does all this kind of PR exercises where he keeps himself in the publicity, and it's a very cheap publicity, I feel personally, because he's a good actor, he's given some hits, so he should show his freedom of expression in a creative field, in a creative medium like movies, acting, which is an actor, that is his profession. So posing this nude and keeping himself in news and going into Muharats or audio release or trailer functions of some other actor shows that he wants to be in the news when his films are flopping.
Mr. Lankesh, you're of course calling this an act of cheap publicity, but the discourse here is not so much about the publicity that Mr. Ranveer Singh may have been trying to seek, but more about the morality aspect and whether or not this falls in the realm of illegality, which is why a complaint has been filed against him. We're also getting a response from one of our callers. Let's listen into that reaction as well. What's your response to the entire outrage over Ranveer Singh's photo shoot?
My name is Lakshman, and I'm calling in from Gandhinagar, Gujarat. I think it is a very cheap publicity stunt. Whatever you want to do, nudity is a private matter, not a public affair. He should not expose himself in public, period.
Right, so that's a point of view coming in from Gandhinagar in Gujarat. Let me go across to Meenu Padha as well, who's a lawyer. Ms. Padha, what can you tell us about your response to this? Now, who's really trying to, in fact, indulge in publicity here? Is it Mr. Ranveer Singh, or is it the complainants who filed the case against him?
Definitely, I think it's a cheap publicity stunt, I would say, because these people have that, these days, I think this is a trend these days to, just to get publicized, just to get attention, do something immoral activity. But they should understand that no one is above law in this country, right? So FIR has been lodged. Definitely an action should be taken against him so that no one in future will do same kind of activity.
But what is outrageous about what he's done, Ms. Pada? What is so outrageous about what he's done? He's posed, I mean, he's not really revealing any part of his anatomy that some people might find objectionable. If the argument also is that if women can pose in bikinis, what's stopping him from posing in the manner in which he is? Why are you so outraged by what he's done?
See, he's a most influenced and most, publicity. He has a lot of publicity, right? So definitely he has a lot of people who are, following him. So most of the children, I would say, most of the children follow him. So I think this is a obscene activity because we, in a country like India, we cannot say there are some balances that we have to maintain. As a lawyer, I would say that definitely it, it is an obscene act because there are some, there must be some balance that has to be maintained.
Right, thanks for your response there, both Mr. Lankesh as well as Ms. Pada. There's a judicial precedent, of course, 2009 when Madhu Sapre and Milind Soman were both acquitted after a period of 14 years when a case was registered against them in 1995. We'll slip into a short break. We'll come back with more on the other side. Stay tuned.